Welcome to Joy Newsroom. I am Emefa Akosia Adeti. We are live from our studios here in Kakumlemia, Accra, and also live on DSTV channel 421 and Go TV channel 125. In our headlines this afternoon, NPP gears up for major protest against Chief Justice's suspension. Petition to be delivered at Jubilee House with more demonstrations planned.
Have the national chairman of the NDC running from one radio station to the other saying that, oh, we are going to clear the Chief Justice. And after she's been cleared, we're also going to clear the Electoral Commission and her deputies. Why? They think that the NDC, we've won, so they should stay. No, they are not going to stay. We'll clear them.
Ghana card NSS, the National Service Authority, rolls out tough reforms to eliminate ghost names.
But if you don't have Ghana card, you are not allowed to do national service, because Ghana card is a far higher form of identification that restricts and bars all those of questionable identity.
And with 10,000 national service personnel to begin military training in August, pilots as authority prepares to make it mandatory from next year.
If we were to get the military involved, it would do a lot, inculcates discipline, patriotism and nationalism into the young Ghanaians.
And still thinking of what to do for your mom this Mother's Day? Your superstation has got it all sorted out for you.
It's just the experience. Get your mother to come and experience. So there's a guided tour, there is a buffet, and then there's a live band for them to dance to. And again, a lot of giveaways from our sponsors.
Please stay with us for details. Welcome back, and many thanks for choosing us this afternoon. In our first story, the new Patriotic Party, NPP, says it's all set for its demonstration tomorrow against the suspension of Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo. National organizer Henry Nanabuache, also known as Nana B, told Elton on the Pulse that the protest will follow designated routes with the Jubilee House as the final stop for submitting their petition. The NPP insists the suspension is unconstitutional and a threat to judicial independence, indicating this marks the beginning of a series of protests to come.
We have engaged police. We have discussed in details the route. We will converge at the Supreme Court, the car park opposite the Supreme Court.
Right.
That is where we are going to do the mammoth gathering.
Why there?
We'll converge there, right there. We will present 3 petitions. The first will be presented at the Supreme Court. And then we will proceed through the main street in front of NLA.
Right.
Then get to the High Court Complex roundabout, what they call the Mofa roundabout. Right. That is how the police call it. Then we will take left, march past the High Court Complex, the Law House. Then we'll go in front of the Ministry's police station. At the traffic light, we turn right. Then we proceed through the main Ministry's route, through the sports stadium. We go around the sports stadium. We take the military cemetery. Then we'll do the second presentation at Parliament. Then we'll proceed to the roundabout. We take right to Akwaje interchange. Then we'll do the final presentation of petition at the Jubilee House. Okay. That is where we'll bring everything to an end. But this is going to be the first of the many activities, protests.
That will be undertaken. But the question that is on the minds of people. I mean, what law has been broken that has necessitated this protest that you intend holding on Monday?
You see, the fact is that this whole thing is a political gimmick. It is something well calculated and being implemented. Look, we will have the national chairman of the NDC running from one radio station to the other saying that, oh, we are going to clear the Chief Justice. And after she's been cleared, we're also going to clear the Electoral Commission and her deputies. Why? They think that the NDC, we've won, so they should stay. No, they are not going to stay. We'll clear them.
I remember Dr. Kabanaye said a similar thing when Mills was president.
Exactly. I mean, I remember that he said there are so many ways to kill a cat.
And nobody was cleared.
No, but that is what I'm saying, because at that time, we have to be serious about it. And that is why we have to take these things serious. Because for me, if you look at the actions, last week I said that His Excellency the President has intentions of packing the court. And I recall the journalist I was having the interview with queried me and said that, why should I so? Why should I be saying so? And I said, no, what are you talking about? I know what I'm talking about. Just the next 2 weeks, he's going to pack the court. That was just about last 2 weeks ago. And then 2 days ago, a man who was preaching a capping, a man who said that the Constitutional Review Committee set up under President Mills recommended that there should be a cap, there should be a ceiling,
right?
Maximum 15. And he used it when he was campaigning. That when he comes, he's going to make sure that there's a ceiling. He's going to champion that. And we've not seen this jump before. With one release, he's nominated 7 persons to the Supreme Court. So making 20.
But all of them qualified.
No, nobody's talking about qualification here. We were talking about what he said he was going to do, the lack of principle in here.
Away from the NPP, the National Service Authority has announced stringent new measures aimed at eliminating ghost names from its payroll, declaring that no graduate will be allowed to undertake national service without a Ghana card or accreditation from the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission. Acting Director General Felix Gyamfi made this known in an exclusive interview on Joy News on Ghana Connect with Kweku Asante, emphasizing that the reforms go beyond policy adjustments and represent a bold commitment to ending payroll fraud, which has plagued the scheme for years.
Like I've said in several interviews, indeed at one at your own studios, I've said that it isn't as if the measures to forestall, to curtail this immoral act wasn't there already. They were all in place. It's just that they were sidestepped and people overlooked them, and that's why these things happen. And then also I've said that there's also a lack of leadership. That's why these things happened. So it is implementing our own safeguards that are already in the system that would prevent and forestall the issue of ghost names here. For example, if you were a school that is not properly accredited with the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, you are not supposed to do national service. That is an institution with questionable character. And these ones, it doesn't have to be me to say it. It would have to be somebody who sits here and then is willing to do the right thing to do it. If you don't have Ghana card, you are not allowed to do national service, because Ghana card is a far higher form of identification that restricts and bars all those of questionable identity to be barred away from doing national service. So for a start, if you don't have Ghana card, to go to our offices and to go through the validation and registration process, you are not allowed to do national service. If you don't go to our offices physically to present your monthly duty allowance and be validated with our metric systems, you are not supposed to be allowed on our payroll. If you over a certain age, a certain thing, you are not supposed to do national service. If you don't go through our processes of registration, you are not supposed to do national service. So these are very few. There are several plethora of them that I can go through, but at least if you go through these ones, what I've just mentioned, and like we have done in the last few months, we would have barred away over 12,000 people from the payroll, and that we have done successfully.
Now, still on the National Service, the Service Authority will from August 3 pilot a military training program for at least 10,000 National Service personnel, with plans to make it mandatory for all personnel from next year. Acting Director General Felix Gyamfi again told Joy News on Ghana Connect that the initiative aims to instill discipline, patriotism and national readiness. He says the training will equip the youth to respond to emergencies and tackle pressing issues such as illegal mining, poor sanitation and environmental degradation.
Oh, no, you know what, even for the Ghana Armed Forces, those who are so mandated to defend this country, it's been a long time since they got into any fight. Not at least in my lifetime have I had the Ghana Armed Forces fighting in any battle. But as Ghanaian citizens, there are several battles that we need to fight. And we need to fight the battle in the Council of Galamsey. We have to reclaim our lands from environmental degradation. We have to fight against sanitation, poor sanitation. We have to fight against malaria. We have to fight against all manner of cancers. So for those fights, you do not need only education to do. You need physical, mental, and then physical discipline as well. And that is President Mohammed's approach and then principle now, that if we were to get the military involved, it would do a lot, inculcates discipline, patriotism, and nationalism into the young Ghanaians. If we did that, young people will turn up early for meetings, they will turn up on time, they will turn up prepared, because it's very important that people turn up at places prepared. They will turn up after all, for those who were not turning up at all, and then make sure things are done well, neatly, and without a thing. Very soon, the Mahama graduates or Mahama Ghanaians will begin to emerge, who are very disciplined, loyal to the state of Ghana, and then are willing to die for Ghana, and will be able to, because of their training that they have had, to say that, you know what, you cannot possibly do mining around Riverside, you know, and then in spite of the obvious the obvious indulgence from business people and all that. No, I'm not allowing it. You can't do that. You cannot bribe a Mahama graduate or a Mahama Ghanaian to give you a bed because you paid something. Suddenly a bed shows up. You know, no, that's not the sort of Ghanaian that we are looking forward to.
So that's the plan of the. So how is it going to be like? Our national service personnel, all of them, are they going to be some selected persons?
No, this year is going to be a pilot year.
Okay.
And then this pilot year, at least, we're going to do 10,000 service persons around the country. We'll start on the 3rd of August. And then that will be before they begin their national service properly. On the 15th of May, we're going back to meet the military, and then we're going to decide on things like the cloth to wear, the boots, are we going to feed them or they are going to feed them? I'm sure they are going to stay all on campuses. We ourselves are prepared to recall them to come by middle of June if we are going to be selected for the military training this year, this pilot year. We would have written to you and called you and told you that, yes, you are going to the Arakan barracks at, I think, Bema Camp, or you are going to the Coronation Barracks in Sunyani, or Bawa or Kamina in Temale. But it's obvious that around the nation, from the 3rd of August, most service persons would be called to begin their annual military.
Moving on, Chairman of the Constitutional Review Committee, Professor H. Kwesi Prempeh, has dismissed calls for the outright abolition of the Council of States. Speaking on Newsfile, he argued that such calls lack sufficient justification. Instead, he revealed that the committee is recommending reforms to the council rather than scrapping it entirely. Among the proposed changes are the reduction in the number of members the president can appoint and possibly stripping the president of the power to appoint members altogether.
If the idea is that, you know, the president, you know, they are not effective advisors, then would just taking them out of the scene completely make the president's decision-making better.
Right.
And maybe the purpose that they are serving is not the right purpose, or it's not adequate. I have been interested in looking at what it was that we tried to do in 1969 when we first introduced the Council of State. The idea was that they were going to be advising a statesman president, not a politician president, because the head of state at the time, the president, was just a head of state. When we moved to executive president, we did not make the necessary modifications in that relationship between the Council of State and the President. My goal as chair, I mean, I don't see it as my goal to essentially either preserve the status quo or just kill everything.
Okay.
We're trying to look for solutions to problems.
Still on this, committee member and Council of State Representative Dr. Esi Ansah welcomed the timing of the constitutional review process. She said the initiative is crucial for aligning the 1992 Constitution with Ghana's evolving political landscape. According to her, the committee has so far received several recommendations that could help strengthen the country's democratic institutions.
It's been 30 plus years since the Constitution was framed. Life has changed. So whether we like it or not, we need to come to it and then do the review. It's been interesting for me just listening to some of the things and realizing we've talked about it and talked about it. The election of, DCs, it's come up so many times, but here we are. It's still there. So this is the time to use the opportunity to capture things properly so that the Constitution outlives us. So that going forward, like Prof said, this is a problem-solving mission. It's not a solution looking for problems, but then looking at what we have, what's not working, how do we improve that?
Now moving on, Chief Executive Officer of Global Life Changes, Dr. James Zeche, has stated that one of the key drivers of national development is skills training. Speaking on the sidelines of a week-long training workshop for prospective women and youth entrepreneurs in the Upper West region, he asserted that the country has abundant talent which must not be allowed to go to waste. Joy News Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from WA.
Life Changes initiated a mobile school of business and entrepreneurship project aimed at empowering women and the youth who are considered to be vulnerable in the society. It is the belief of the foundation that skill development is one of the critical areas that can help propel the development agenda of the country to the highest level. Dozens of prospective women and youth entrepreneurs were therefore trained on several items, including soap, fertilizer, yogurt, paint, wig making, and grass cutter rearing. Dr. James Zeche is the Chief Executive Officer of Foundation for Global Life Changes.
We have a society that have a lot of people being skilled in several areas of life. They are able to fend for themselves. It reduces poverty. It promotes income generation, and it also helps people to live a decent life. Actually seek to empower youth and the women on entrepreneurship and business skills. That is what we seek to do as an organization. We hate to see wasted potential. If you look at most of our youth around, they are all loaded with potentials and skills, targeting at nothing. So this particular training is aimed at igniting and activating their dormant potentials and skills to enable them fulfill their destiny in life. That is why we are here.
Dr. James Zeche noted that the Mobile School of Business and Entrepreneurship project is in line with the broader vision of the government, calling for collaboration with the latter and other agencies to enroll many into the program for them to benefit.
Fortunately, on our part, this particular idea or vision of youth entrepreneurship empowerment or training is part of the broader vision of the government. And we are therefore calling upon collaboration not only with the government agencies, but other organizations, institutions, and companies, or even individuals who will be willing to cooperate and then collaborate with us to enable us to run this particular program to cover as many people as possible, and then to enable a lot of women and youth benefit from the program so that they can make a meaningful impact in our society.
Zeche Blessing is one of the trainers at a one-week training workshop.
Yes, some of us, we already have job, but majority of the youth don't have ways of earning a living. And so that pushes them to engage in all sorts of things that do not help the society. So when we realized that, we sat down and planned that. So as Foundation for Global Life Changes, what can we do to help our brothers and sisters? So that was when the idea came that it is not just education that one can depend on to earn a living, but rather even those that have not gone to class 1 or KG, they can also earn a living.
Some of the participants shared their thoughts on the program.
Well, I'm expecting that by the end of the training, I should gain something important, so that looking at the nature of the job market, as I go out, I can also do something to earn a living without depending on the government or my family.
Reporting for Dwayne News, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
The Parliamentary Select Committee on Health has concluded a high-stakes visit to the Holy Family Catholic Hospital in Techiman, exposing an urgent wake-up call for healthcare in the Bono East region. The team, led by the Member of Parliament for Dafiama Busie Isa constituency, Dr. Sebastian Sandari, after commending the significant role in the facility plays in providing quality healthcare, reiterated the need for government to provide essential assistance to the hospital, which currently serves as a major referral point for patients across the entire region. Anas Sabit has more.
The Holy Family Hospital has for decades been a lifeline for thousands here in the Bono East region. Today, this facility became the center of a major health policy dialogue as lawmakers and health leaders, led by the Member of Parliament for Dafiam Busie Isa constituency, Dr. Sebastian Sandari, witnessed firsthand the triumphs and trials of healthcare here. This visit, amongst other things, highlighted the Holy Family Hospital's role as a national asset. Dr. Sangari praised management here for its cleanliness and dedication to healthcare delivery within the area.
Today we are in the Bono East and we visited the Holy Family Catholic Hospital to see what goes on there. And we must say that we were impressed first with what we observed. The environment was very clean. The staff very hardworking, with smiles and signs of happiness with the work that they do and the sacrifices they give to our people.
Beyond these remarkable praises for the facility's professionalism lies a systemic crisis that continuously affects healthcare delivery in the area. This includes human resource shortages, inadequate MRI and patient monitors, and most importantly, the issue of limited spaces to accommodate patients seeking for healthcare.
We also observed that they have some challenges that affect the quality healthcare delivery that we are interested in, and we took notice of those challenges. Some of them, are human resource challenges. They also need more equipment, like patient monitors especially. They need MRI. We also realize that the space at the various units that we visited, they have limited spaces that need attention.
Addressing the rise in road traffic emergencies, Dr. Sandari warned that accidents are quickly becoming a leading cause of hospital admissions and fatalities, and there's a need for increased public education and for hospitals to be equipped with advanced diagnostic tools to help avert deaths recorded from RTAs.
Education is the first thing to do, but then we also know that when they are involved in accident, one, they need equipment that will help in the diagnosis. So we believe that if these interventions are put in place, it will address and help avert some of the deaths that occur from RTA.
The crisis extends beyond Techiman. Deputy Regional Director of Health Services, Mrs. Helena Bojo, revealed that 5 districts in the Far East lack a single hospital, and critical cases endure hours of death race to Techiman, a situation that needs urgent attention.
I must say that these 5 districts are woefully underserved in terms of healthcare delivery and needs further infrastructural expansion and new hospitals. The situation is very urgent.
On the part of the facility, Executive Director of the Christian Health Association of Ghana, Dr. Peter Yabua, reiterated the facility's commitment towards providing quality healthcare and admonished for the prompt reimbursement of NHIS claims to help address the issue of illegal payments in the health sector.
Providers are the face of NHIS. So if we can come together and ensure that these two key instruments are addressed, prompt reinvestment of validated claims, economic tariff structure, I think that terms like illegal payment and the rest are proxies and pointers for us to address these actions.
Key takeaways from today's visit: lawmakers pledge to fast-track policy reforms, equitable funding, infrastructure projects, and NHIS fixes. Reporting for Joy News, Anna Sabit, Tichiman.
And I'll take you to the Ashanti region, where former Member of Parliament for Mensa South, Dr. Patriotic Party, has unveiled the ambition of making the constituency a hub of shoemaking in the country. He has affirmed a commitment of empowering youth and artisans through skills development with the launch of the Mensa South Shoemaking Hub project under the Make Ghana Proud initiative in Kumasi. The initiative is designed to promote technical craftsmanship, entrepreneurship, and local production. More in this report.
Shoemakers and artisans in the Mensa South constituency have been assembled in efforts to enhance their skills, form a cohesive market, and gauge the supply and demand for shoemaking in the country. The Mensa South Shoemaking Hub project is aimed at empowering craftsmanship and creating jobs through a robust shoe production hub for the constituency. Under 7 phases, artisans and beneficiaries are expected to be inculcated with skills in product development, branding, marketing, and certification. Addressing the theme, Empowering Hands, Elevating Dreams, Crafting Ghana's Future, Dr. Opoku Prempeh indicated that the long-standing advocacy for technical and vocational education is now practically transforming community life.
Skills are not an alternative, they are essential. Craftsmanship is not a fallback, it is the foundation for progress. The Mensa Shoemaking Hub project is an extension of that vision, and nurtured by the belief that local solutions driven by local hands can lift entire communities and change the fortunes of nations. Today, we proudly celebrate the progress we have made. In phase 1, we conducted a comprehensive needs assessment to understand the gaps and opportunities in the shoemaking sector.
The Mensa South Shoemaking Hub project featured the recognition of pioneer master shoemakers who have successfully completed structured training under the project's first phase. The launch also marked the beginning of a broader ambition to establish a common facility center in Mensa South to nurture apprentices and brand made in Ghana footwear for domestic and international markets. Coordinator of the Mensa South Shoemaking Hub projects, Mina Antwi says an assessment has revealed that there is a demand market for jobs and trade to absorb artisans and their products.
Going to go back to them. That is the idea that we have. This is the vision that we want to share with Ghanaians. That one day we want Mensa South to be the shoemaking hub of Ghana. That if you want to have good shoes, it should be in Mensa South. I was even asking them why everything was black slipper, and they told me that in Kumasi, if you do brown slippers, they won't buy. They prefer the black. Actually, that was an eye-opening for me, because if you want to do a project, you need to understand the needs of the people you are targeting. So we've come to understand that this is the situation of Kumasi, so we will do it according to how they like. However, I believe that if we do it better, we can have the products and the markets beyond Kumasi.
Meanwhile, pioneer master shoemakers say their skills have been polished to produce standardized products for shoes for consumers.
We can make in Ghana products now. The higher packaging, 2 states, 2 finishing. In idea, shoemakers are your Ghana and it Mensa South now. You're lucky. We buy my fair, but finishing a problem. You call your Nina, how to diversify a package and how a quiet also I'll turn them on online.
For Joy News, my name is Clinton.
You're watching Joy News with me, Emefa Akosia Adeti. Stay with me. When we come back, I'll tell you the best way to celebrate your mother this coming Mother's Day. Please stay. Welcome back to Joy Newsroom with me, Emefa Akosia Adeti. And I've got a question for you. How are you intending to thank your mother this Mother's Day? Your superstation Joy FM is helping you to say it the way a queen deserves. That will be on Saturday, May 10, 2025 at the breathtaking Safari Valley Eco Resort. The General Manager for Sales and Marketing here at the Multimedia Group Limited, Max Fuga, tells us about the giveaways, music and unforgettable memories waiting families who will join celebrate mothers.
Let's go through a lot of things.
Yeah.
I mean, they sacrifice, they do all sorts of things to see us through school, to see us through life. And even when we start working and we are making family, we have our own family, they are still there for us.
That's true.
They guide us.
Yeah.
How can we celebrate them? How can we say thank you to them? Look, sometimes here, words, oh, thank you, Mom. Mom, I love you. Mom, you're there for me. Mom, you are my pillar. Mom, you are my hero. We have said all those things. But I believe that there can be other unique ways to celebrate our moms.
Beyond the words, they
beyond
would love
just the
some
words, beyond
experiences,
the cake.
create
and so
memories.
this year, we want to give them the experience.
Okay, that's nice.
And so we went to Safari Valley Eco Park, and they've agreed to partner us on this project.
Safari Valley?
Of all places.
Wow.
Safari Valley Eco Park.
That's top tier.
Super.
That's top tier.
Super. And for me, that is the best way and a unique way for us to celebrate our mothers this year. And again, instead of going there on the Sunday, we have decided to do Saturday.
Oh wow! Okay.
So the Safari Valley, the Mom's Day Out, is going to take place on a Saturday.
On a Saturday, okay. That's just the day before Mother's Day.
Exactly, May 10th. Just before Mother's Day, which is the May 11th. Okay. Now, why Saturday? Because we believe that, look, Sundays, people want to go to church, people want to go and
the mothers themselves, they want to go for
church.
women's fellowship.
Our mothers are religious.
Women's fellowship.
And a lot of churches will celebrate Women's Day on that day anyway.
Exactly. Yeah, okay. That's true.
I am an Assemblies of God person. I know normally Women's Day is the day we do the Mother's Day is the day they do the Women's Ministry Day and all those things. So there will be a lot of activities on that day. And our mothers themselves want to go to church and thank God.
Okay.
So we said, okay, Saturday, the whole day. Use it to celebrate your mom.
Wow.
Okay. First of all, there will be a guided tour of the place. First, there will be a welcoming session where we welcome all the mothers and those who paid for them to be there. Obviously, if you want your mother to go, you are not just going to pay for your mom. You want to be with your mom.
Yeah.
And so there will be a guided tour of all our patrons. And then, after the guided tour, we're going to... during the tour, they get to see some of the animals that they've never seen. They've even taught us in books, but they've never had the opportunity of seeing them, coming very close to them. And so there will be the guided tour, the zebras, there will be all the animals that you can think of. Then we're going to... There's also an opportunity for boat cruising, there'll be an opportunity for horse riding, and a lot of outdoor games.
A fun day.
There's a fun day. And you see, some of the mothers, maybe young mothers can do the horse riding, but I'm sure if my mother were to be alive, she wouldn't do that, but she'll get to see all the wild animals, the wildlife that they have there. Beyond that, we're going to also provide live band.
Oh, I see. So it's like a whole celebration thingy,
there's
a whole
experience.
program.
It's just experience.
Set up.
Get your mother to come and experience. So
okay.
There's a guided tour, there is a buffet, and then there's a live band for them to dance to. And again, a lot of giveaways from our sponsors.
Now, tickets for Joy FM Safari Day Out with Mama are selling for 950 Ghana cedis adults and 650 Ghana cedis teenagers and 450 for children. You can as well make payments via Momo to 0593 038842 and reference Mama. The Momo name is Daniel Boifio. There will be buses to convey those who may need a ride at no extra cost. You can call for more information 0302 216 540. Now, moving on, our aggrieved members of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association in the Upper West region have given the original leadership and the K. Zori properties a 2-week ultimatum over delays in allocating land paid for since 2020. At a press conference in Wa, the nurses described the delay in the Nurses Court project as a leadership failure and cited poor communication. They vowed to seek legal and institutional redress if their demands are not met. Rafiq Salam reports.
According to the group, the Upper West branch of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, GRNMA, in December 2020, advertised lands procured through a private estate developer, Kezori Properties, for interested members. The initiative was officially launched in February 2021 at Walisombo with the endorsement of key stakeholders, including the Upper West Regional Director of Health Services, Dewana, the MP for West Central, and the GRNMA National President. Despite members paying for their parcel of lands and signing of contracts, the project stalled shortly after the land demarcation began. Attempts to get answers from regional leaders have since been met with silence or threats. Dawood Habib is the spokesperson for the aggrieved nurses.
As the years went by, members became skeptical and suspicious and began asking questions which were either ignored or met with unpleasant responses from the Upper West leadership. In May 2024, we, the members who were affected, decided to come together to see what we can do as a group to get what is duly ours.
The group says it formally wrote to the Upper West office of the GRNMA in May 2024 demanding lease documents of the land, but the leadership failed to respond and allegedly lied about members not completing payments. A follow-up petition to the national president in July 2024 resulted in a Zoom meeting in November where it was agreed that affected members will receive their lands and documents by February 2025. That deadline has also passed without explanation.
In that meeting, all parties concerned were heard, and at the end of which it was clearly established that the affected nurses have a genuine case and a cause to complain. In the end, Kezori assured all that by the end of February 2025, all GRNMA members who have fully paid for their lands at the nurses' court will receive their lands and accompanying documents. Today is April 19th, and nothing has happened so far. We have not been communicated to as to why they could not meet their own deadline. It is important to clearly state that this attitude of flouting deadlines and keeping quiet thereafter is very typical of the Upper West leadership of the GRNMA and Kezori Properties Limited.
The group says the conduct of the GRNMA leaders in the region undermines the association's mission to protect the welfare of its members. They further allege that some members have been threatened for speaking out. They insisted that they warned that after waiting for 3 to 4 years, they would explore all legal and institutional avenues to seek redress if their demands are not met by the given 2-week deadline.
It is also important to note that some of these lands were paid for over 4 years ago and others about 3 years ago and still counting. While this group is prepared to explore all available avenues to meet our demands, we hereby give the leadership of the Upper West leadership of the GRNMA and Kezori a 2-week ultimatum with the date of this press release as reference to meet our demands. As a group, we see this as a threat to our welfare and will not leave any stone unturned to ensure that our demands are met.
Joy News team, after the press conference, visited the site. To their surprise, bumped into the GRNMA Upper West Regional Chairman, Nasser Moriondo, on site, working on his land. When quizzed about the state of the lands, this was his response.
How come you have modern blocks? If not, some of them even didn't see their land.
No, I'm not ready to talk now.
Let's say something.
Oh, no.
So do you have the document?
Let's leave that one for another day.
Eh?
Let's leave it for another day.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
Well, so news just in is that there's power outage due to fire outbreak on the earthing transformer at the Achimota Bulk supply point, and the ECG has just released a statement confirming the power outages in some parts of Accra you may have been experiencing. It says that the Electricity Company of Ghana, Accra East Region, wishes to inform its cherished customers and the general public in the underlined areas and the listed areas that the outage being experienced is as a result of a fire outbreak on the earthing transformer at the Achimota Bulk supply point. In affected areas by now, you know, Achimota, North Industrial Area, Kaneshi, Kokoblimle, Asalem Down, Pig Farm, Kutubabi, Circle, Adabraka, Newtown, Nima, Gempa, Kisema, and UGMC. ECG wishes to assure affected customers that our engineers are working to rectify the fault and restore supply fully by 2 p.m., which is just a few minutes away today, 4th May 2025. ECG regrets the inconvenience caused to the affected customers. Sorry if you have experienced that, but I will bring you in our subsequent bulletins if you indeed got the power restored or not. So do stay with us. But still on ECG, the government has ruled out the privatization of the Electricity Company of Ghana, but is considering a concession model as an alternative approach to improve efficiency. Meanwhile, Executive Director of the Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy, Benjamin Insia, has urged the government to ensure sound macroeconomic management and strict regulatory oversight of the utilities operations to guarantee value for money under the new model.
I think the process has just started. The ability of the concessionaire or the capacity of the concessionaire to inject liquidity to modernize the system to be able to mobilize a lot of revenue, that is very critical. Because if the concessionaire doesn't bring in a lot of liquidity, it means that we are still going to be at the same position, because modernization of the system will ensure that we're able to mobilize a lot. So that ability must be stated categorically. The second part is that I think that we must also enforce the regulator. Yes, one issue about a concession is that at the end of the day, the concessionaire would like to make a lot of revenues, and that will call for consistent reflective tariffs without even sometimes injecting liquidity or assets into the operations of the entity. So we must ensure that the regulator also becomes very efficient and effective in terms of policing the concessionaire to do the right thing so that the consumer or the end user benefits from this particular concession agreement. The last part is that I think from the macro perspective, we must ensure that the cedi becomes very stable, because one thing that affects the sector is the exchange rate. And mostly tariffs are priced based on historical data. Normally when you hear people mention tariff, we look at inflation of historical data, or we look at exchange rates of historical data to project future data. So if we are not able to manage our macro economy, especially exchange rate well, it means that the concessionaire in future will also be asking for higher tariffs. That also goes to affect the whole concession and people beginning to agitate. So at the macro level, through the Bank of Ghana, through monetary measure, or the fiscal level, which is led by the finance minister, must ensure that the city becomes stable. And lastly, I think that we are going to face a challenge of cost-reflective tariff, service-based tariffs, because as a concessionaire, they will not allow anybody to use a tariff that will not be cost-reflective to their operations, or not benefit them in terms of revenue mobilization or profit making, as well as dividend realization for their investors. So when we are going to concession, we must consider some of these factors in terms of getting. But the main factor is that we must get a good police who will ensure that the concessionaire doesn't take advantage of the government and also the end user.
Well, I'll take you back to the earlier story about how some parts of Accra may have been experiencing some power outages, and I'll be talking to Mr. Charles Ayuku from ECG. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. So your statement says that you're doing everything you can to restore power by 2 p.m. We have just about less than 10 minutes to 2 p.m. Is that still the situation?
Good afternoon, MFA. As we speak currently,
and we restore power to the affected customers.
Can you hear me? We'll try again as to whether customers will still have power by 2 p.m.
In fact, they have power now. They have power now.
Right. Now tell me, you attribute this to a fire outbreak. Explain.
Yes. On the effing transformer at the Atmospheric box supply point. Yes, this happened around 10:45 a.m. today.
Okay.
Yes, fortunately, the fire service came and helped down the fire. So currently, everything is under control. There are no casualties, except for the fact that we have a damaged equipment.
Did the fire service indicate the cause of fire?
We are yet to finalize as we started the investigation.
Tell me, how much damage has been caused?
An extensive damage.
But the restoration of power really would be permanent, and nothing. If we experience any power outages, will not be because of this fire, because you have restored it fully.
Yes. So what we did was to move our customers to the closest system for them to be able to have power.
Okay, and that would not put more pressure on the other transformers, because now you have migrated customers from these areas onto the nearest transformer. Would that cause any pressure on these transformers?
Not necessarily, because our engineers assess the situation before making that move.
But tell me, has this happened before?
No, this is the first time it has happened. I mean,
I understand that the National Fire Service has not told you exactly what may have caused it, but from your assessment, are you able to tell us what probably could have caused this fire outbreak?
Yeah, so as I indicated earlier, ECG and the National Fire Service are working together in the area of investigating the cause of fire. So when we are fully sure, or we are able to finalize the investigation, we'll let our customers, including yourself and our stakeholders, know about the outcome of the investigation.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Charles Aiku, for talking to us. External Communications Manager, ECG. Thank you, and have a good one today. And that actually will be all for the bulletin on Joy Newsroom with me, Emefa Akosia Adeti. For more news, do log on to myjoyonline.com. Enjoy your Sunday.